Meet 6-year-old Rough Collie Kaiser and 8-year-old Brussels Griffon Ruby. The doggy duo are familiar faces at St John of God Hospital in Bendigo. The canines from Delta Therapy Dogs visit the hospital's rehab ward as part of a pet therapy program. St John of God Rehab Services Director Dr Debbie Kesper said the pet therapy provides patients with an opportunity to engage with their recovery in a different way.
Pet therapy provided people with an opportunity to engage in a different way with the therapist and with the dog to enrich their stay and literally have some fun time on the ward.
The dogs make weekly visits to the rehab ward, sitting alongside patients, giving them special company and furry friends during their hospital stay. Delta Therapy Dogs volunteer Michelle Larkin said the program successfully kick-started last year after hospital staff saw a need for the service.
Now they're looking at employing another therapy team that work on the new rehab ward, so it's growing.
The Delta Therapy Dog program are looking to extend their services beyond St John of God Hospital. The team are currently looking for four-legged friends and their human companions to offer therapy to other groups in Bendigo, such as schools and old age homes. Lucy Holmes, Mojo News.
It's really disheartening and upsetting, and I'll be honest and say I've cried a million tears over that.
Virginia Tulloch lives in Barringup, around 50 kilometres from Bendigo. Her home boasts views over the Cairncurran Reservoir, a hotspot for families in and around Bendigo.
Well, we just thought we were having this fabulous tree change away from the city, having lots of land for our children to play on, and also being able to have a large veggie patch and being self-sustaining as well, being able to live off-grid without paying a power bill.
Despite the love Virginia has for her home, being a long distance from major towns and cities has taken its toll.
We love our property, we adore it, but we can't stay here, it's exhausting. Also, I drive 4 hours a day to get my children to school and back, and then pick up and back. So it's just a really long way. We're not ever here enjoying this view. We're not ever here sitting down enjoying a Chardonnay because all we do is drive and drive and drive.
Virginia's home has been on the market for 7 months.
And we contacted an agent to get a valuation, which was $1.1 million. Then we immediately started getting a lot of feedback, a lot of people wanting to come and have a look. We really felt that the house would sell lightning fast. We felt we had a lightning fast price on the house.
But her property is still sitting on the market.
We've had problems. We have had major problems.
$1 million views with $1 million price tag. Stress should be the last concern, but it is the first thing on Virginia's mind.
I really do worry quite badly about the sale of the house. It's caused me a lot of anxiety. I've lost a lot of sleep over not selling the house.
Leonie Butler is a licensed real estate agent for DCK Real Estate in Bendigo. Being in real estate for 44 years, she believes stress and selling your home go hand in hand.
Selling your home, and particularly your family home, is the most stressful thing you can do in your life. I've been through it myself, and it's not a nice position to be in. So when a property's been on the market for a while, you do get anxious, you might have financial pressures, there could be so many outside factors influencing everything, and it's a very stressful time.
Virginia's home in Barringup is in the Shire of Mount Alexander. The population in the area increased by 600 people over 4 years.
People think it's a great idea to have a tree change, to come out into the bush and build a beautiful bespoke designer home and have their dream. I believe the issue is that people realise it's a long way from town. It's 45 minutes from Bendigo and it's 2 hours at least from Melbourne. It's half an hour from the nearest train line and 45 minutes from any bus. I believe that people realise that once they come out here.
People may wish to move to the country to seek a more relaxed lifestyle, but judging by the rising number of properties for sale in country Victoria, many people living here are looking to get out.
There are 3 properties in this area that are between $1 million and $1.5 million, and that all of those properties have received terrific initial interest, but we literally have 3 buyers to share amongst us. And if you don't snag one of those buyers quickly, I think it's fair to say that you won't have good luck selling your property.
Well, it's hard to sell $1 million properties in Bendigo, let alone out of town, but it does depend on the market. Look, real estate's one of those games. You can be lucky, finding a buyer quickly, or sometimes it takes time. There's a buyer for every property in the marketplace. It's just a matter of when that buyer is there, whether it be now, in a month's time or 2 months' time.
By Christmas time, if we haven't sold, we're going to go and rent somewhere where we would like to be and just leave this property empty to sell itself, because we literally just can't stand the process of selling. It's just so stressful. So we're going to move on and let it go.
Exciting but challenging times for Bendigo as the city endeavours to cater for an increase in student numbers. The Bendigo Hospital project is inflating the city's population by attracting families to the area. Girton Grammar School headmaster Mr Matthew Maruff says there are currently 1,000 fewer 12-year-olds in Bendigo, but he says demographers suggest that number will increase over the next 3 to 5 years.
That will definitely have a causal relationship with the Bendigo Hospital.
Mr Maruff says that schools will need to cater for the student population growth by preparing for the future.
It's about forward planning, making sure that you use the best empirical data that you have at the time to help your plans.
Although a challenging time for Bendigo, the city is looking forward to a population boom. The new hospital precinct will bring more people to Bendigo, which could see the gold rush town flourish. Councillor with the City of Greater Bendigo, Rod Fife, says the city is eager to see the area grow.
We are going to look forward to a big population explosion, I think, of people coming into town.
Current students will be working in the year 2070, so schools need to teach both how to gain a job and how to create a job. A growing town could be beneficial for this.
There are other people who are wanting to set up near the hospital because they have access to the best knowledge available. Certainly that is an attraction for people coming in from out of town.
Lucy Holmes reporting for Mojo News. Good evening, Alicia. Yes, tragic news out of Bendigo this afternoon. A body was found dead in the Kim Bolton pool in Lake Eppalock. The body has been identified as an 82-year-old man from Ardea in Melbourne. However, his name has not yet been released. The body was found by fishermen at approximately 12 this afternoon, and the man supposedly launched his boat after 6:30 a.m. this morning, and it is believed the man was returning from a fishing trip. The man's car was found nearby with a boat trailer attached to the vehicle, and the car was a grey Hyundai i30. Police are not treating the death as suspicious. However, they are urging people who saw any evidence around the scene this morning, or perhaps later on in the day, to come forward to police to explain what they saw and what they believe could possibly have happened to this man. The man has been described as Caucasian in appearance, and at the time when his body was found, he was dressed in a red and blue checked flannelette shirt, a grey singlet, jeans, gumboots and a pink life jacket. Police and emergency services have been investigating the scene, and they will continue to do so until they find more facts about how this man could have died. Police are also going to be preparing a report for the coroner. Now, Alicia, where this body was found in Lake Eppalock, these waters are quite popular around this time of year, considering it's the school holidays, for families and people to come and enjoy water sports and have picnics and just have fun times with loved ones, considering the amazing view. You can obviously see that behind me, how pretty this view is. So the fact that a body has been found dead in these waters is quite tragic, considering that normally this area in Bendigo, just out of Bendigo, is quite happy and joyful. So it's tragic that this event has unfolded around this area. Alicia, and police are also urging people with any more facts about this death of the man from Ardea to come forward to them or to come forward to Crime Stoppers. Back to you, Alicia. Carjackings, burglaries and house invasions are carried out in Melbourne by youths as young as 10 to 18 years old, not many years younger than many university students. With gang-related attacks riddling Melbourne's streets, we asked Monash University students if the rise of gangs and attacks in Melbourne concern them.
I think it concerns all Melbournians. It's a bit scary walking down the street and thinking it can happen to you, but it is a minority, so I think we all have to take a step back and just realise that it's not going to change our lives, it won't affect us. The news are just portraying it in a different manner. It's a bit concerning though.
But while some are concerned about gang violence in their suburbs, others feel as though it is being controlled by authorities.
I don't live in the city, and maybe in city area, and the ratio, the crime ratio maybe is higher than the suburb areas. And fortunately, and I haven't never met any crime and happened to me.
With the number of home invasions doubling by youths over the past 4 years, some think it's best that gang members be contained.
I think there needs to be facilities where these children can hang out with people present to watch over them, somewhere where they can hang out during the day, during the night, because most of the time it's just they don't have much things to do around the area, so like, oh man, let's just rob a car, man, stuff like that.
Yeah. What about yourself? Do you know the names of any gangs, or have you been affiliated with any of them? Have you seen anything happen?
I'm not affiliated with any gangs, no, definitely not. I have heard of Apex. I think they're in the Glen Waverley area. I definitely do think that the police are doing their best. It's a hard topic because it's young people and they are the future.
After speaking to an array of Monash University students, many students feel as if the gangs in Melbourne are being portrayed in a negative light by the media. But students feel as if the police and security are managing the gangs quite well. Lucy Holmes reporting for Mojo TV.
I'm gonna sing the rainbow song.
Yeah, sing the rainbow song, but sing it nicely, with a nice voice. Go. Red and...
No one. Red and blue and orange and blue, purple and orange and blue. I can sing a rainbow too.
Oh, very good.
My name is Jay Chapman. I'm a business coach for the hair and beauty industry, and I'm also a father to 4-year-old twins, Otto and Lenny, that were born via commercial surrogacy.
I'm Jeremy James. I'm the dad to Otto and Lenny. I'm business coached as I have a salon.
We met each other through mutual friends, and it's a very long story, but I already knew he existed and he knew I existed. And I said to a friend when we were out for dinner, there's this guy named Jeremy, I don't know how to get in contact with him. And he said, oh, I know Jeremy, I got his number. So I said, can I have his number? And he said, oh, I don't know if you should just give out random people's numbers, maybe I need to ask permission. So we rang him, and I nearly died, and the friend said to Jeremy, I've got someone here that wants your number, and he said, is it Jay? So then we ended up meeting up in a local park and then going back to his place, and the rest is history.
You spend more and more time together, and then it's happening without you even knowing it, and then continues on.
I don't think it was a conscious decision, it just happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose in a hetero relationship, there's dating and then going out and engagement and marriage. We kind of don't have those things, so there's probably not as much structure, it just flows on.
Yellow!
Yellow?
Say it with L's. Yellow.
It's yellow.
No, yellow.
I don't know how to say it.
Just try it. Yellow.
Yellow.
Good girl. I said say it with L, so she said lello.
Jeremy.
Why did you want to have children? Why did you want to have children? For me, I remember being at Jeremy's parents' house in Hopeton in rural Victoria, and there was all these photos all over the wall of family and kids and grandparents and aunties and uncles and cousins, and I remember having this moment of thinking, it'll be just us two in the pictures on the walls, that's a bit boring. I don't know if I like that. There's options for us to have kids, but they're expensive and difficult. And then from that, I had a business mentor that taught me how to pull back from my business and spend more me time together. And I was at home doing nothing, and I didn't have a hobby, and I wasn't going to gym or anything. And I thought, well, what's my purpose? What's my next step? What am I doing for me in my personal life? And it made me think about that and think about family and having children. So I started to Google.
Describe the journey adopting the twins. I guess as a whole journey and something that you do, just as a whole, it was amazingly smooth, and it's as easy as it could be then.
From the start to finish, I think it took around maybe 2.5 years. And you have to make sure that you're medically fit and financially fit to be able to support children. So it was a long process, an expensive process, an emotional process. It's not a common thing that you go through typically, so you don't really have many people to compare your stories with and gain support from. So there's aspects of the journey that are quite business-like, and it's hard to remove emotion. And there's not that constant reminder that you're pregnant, because you don't have a physical reminder. We went to India 3 times. So the first time was to have a look at the hospital and sign some legal documents and do the fertility process. And the first few rounds of IVF didn't work, unfortunately, so we had to go back again and start that whole process again. And then we were successful after the second visit to India, and the third visit was the final visit, and that was when the twins were born, and staying for a month and then coming home.
It's like I will wait on. What is it? Zebra? Yeah.
What's a day in the life of Jay, Jeremy, Otto and Lenny like? Busy. It's very busy. I think because we're both self-employed and we're busy business people and we're social people, and the twins are, I think, aren't all kids extroverts? Like, they're just crazy. And then throw our businesses in there and our busy work schedule. Things are structured to the minute, basically, and it doesn't take much to throw that balance. So very busy, but basically the life of our family looks very similar to the life of any other family. I think we do things that we're not meant to do, like allow the kids to watch the laptop and iPad to the point where they know how to open and close apps and zoom in, zoom out. We let them eat McDonald's nuggets that are 3 days old from the seat, with the car seats. It's just a normal everyday life of being a parent. Sometimes they get up at 4 and come into bed with us and put their cold little toes into our back and play with their eyelashes while we're asleep, or talk about God knows what. Then it's getting them dressed in the clothes that they want to be dressed in, making them toast that's buttered the way that they want it buttered, then making more toast because you cut it into triangles, not squares. And today you don't like triangles.
Minnie and Mickey have been hard at work in the clubhouse kitchen. It's a perfect spot to whip up some yummy cupcakes.
Has the same-sex marriage debate impacted your family? Directly, that's a tricky one. No. Our values on our relationship are not defined by marriage. However, the debate of same-sex marriage and equality is something that I'm obviously very passionate about because I am in one of the minorities, and I support it and rally for it. Not so much for myself and my own family, it's for other people.
No, this is a rival my control. And this is a
When they play with their dolls, they play an American accent, as most kids do, and they always play mummies and daddies. And I said, why don't you play daddies and daddies? And Lenny was like, don't be stupid. So, but they have said, so-and-so at childcare's only got a mum and no dad. And so-and-so's got a mum and a dad, or just a nana. So they're starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together, but it's something that we've always spoken about and been open about, so it's not going to be, now we're going to have to sit you down and explain something to you. It's just their normal.
Yeah.
Yay! You're amazing.
Hello and welcome to this news break from Monash University's Journalism School. I'm Lucy Holmes.
And I'm Wills Wah.
A shopping centre in the southeast has shoppers up in arms over a proposal to introduce paid parking. Westfield Southland plans to charge up to $18 a day to park at the centre, with employees not exempt from the new parking system. Retail workers furious after being told they will soon be slugged a $5 flat rate to park in staff parking spaces under a new advanced parking system. Cheltenham's Westfield Southland will soon introduce controlled parking in a bid to ensure available parking spaces for customers and staff with the opening of a new train station later this year. However, workers will find that they themselves will be expected to pay up to $25 a week. State member for Mordialloc Tim Richardson says that for those on a minimum wage, it is simply just too much.
People were saying that would be a $5 flat rate. Now that might not seem like much for some people, but $5 adds up to $1,300 a year, and just people just can't cope with that extra burden when they've already had a hit to their penalty rates.
Richardson says that those most likely to be hardest hit will be high school and university students who are already juggling their studies with part-time work.
I had young people, uni students, and I've been there, and a lot of our community already struggling to get in the housing market or make ends meet, saying, you know, I might only work a few hours a day, and that's going to be a big hit.
Last month, an online petition was set up in a bid to give Southland workers a fair go. As of the 4th of October, the petition has garnered more than 7,068 signatures.
They work here. It's not fair that they have to pay an extra fee because they're employed at this shopping centre.
The new ticketless parking system is set to kick off on the 16th of October. Sasha Purcell reporting, Monash News.
Melbourne City Council says they may be forced to confiscate hundreds of bicycles after complaints. Yellow O-bikes have been discarded in the streets. O-bikes are Australia's first dockless bike sharing scheme. They have been left face down on pavements, in trees and even in the Yarra River.
I think that they're a pretty good idea, but I'm not too sure because a lot of people are just leaving them all over the place and it does get a little bit annoying.
The council says they will be stricter with other ride-sharing companies coming to Melbourne in the future.
Going through rehabilitation can be a difficult time, but some four-legged hospital staff are making the process for patients in a Bendigo hospital a little easier. Delta Therapy dogs Kaiser and Ruby make weekly visits to the St John of God Hospital's rehab ward, putting a smile on patients' faces.
Pet therapy provided people with an opportunity to engage in a different way to enrich their stay and literally have some fun time on the ward.
The team is seeking more human and furry volunteers to visit local schools and old age homes.
A group of cyclists are braving the rain and cold, riding more than 400 kilometres for a very special cause. The Challenge Muscular Dystrophy Goldfields Ride raises much needed money and awareness of the disorder.
It's a grey sky morning in North Melbourne, but these cyclists are all geared up for a 400-kilometre ride. They'll be cycling through the goldfields of central Victoria over 4 days to raise funds and awareness for muscular dystrophy. The disorder affects about 20,000 people in Australia, and many of the participants are cycling today because it affects someone close to them.
We have a young grandson who's 4 years old who unfortunately suffers from muscular dystrophy.
Claringbold has raised $10,000 so far through a trivia night and donations from her community. The cyclists are starting their journey from the Muscular Dystrophy Australia head office in North Melbourne, travelling through Rowsley, Malden, Heathcote and Greenville before coming back to Melbourne. Participants will be cycling for an average of 6 hours each day before resting at a local accommodation in the evening. Tonight they'll be staying at a campsite, followed by a football club and a local stadium the following nights. Organizer Boris Juk says $60,000 has been raised and these funds will go into research for muscular dystrophy.
So we can provide more programs, more services and fund research to find a treatment or cure for muscular dystrophy.
The 25 cyclists will be cycling their way through the tough terrains with forecasted rainy days ahead.
Ready for sunshine, hail, snow or sleet. We are ready for every contingency.
June Lee reporting for Mojo News.
Thank you.
It's Tiger time in Melbourne, with Richmond just one win away from the AFL Grand Final next week. To celebrate, Swan Street businesses are throwing their support behind the team, turning the street yellow and black with balloons, streamers and posters covering the suburb. Even the council is clearly on the Tiger bandwagon.
Yeah, we've gone ahead and at the Richmond Town Hall every week that the Tigers are playing, we'll fly the flag.
If Richmond win, next week will be their first Grand Final appearance since 1982.
And finally, a new sports bar has opened in Melbourne, but customers won't be watching the football. GGEZ is the first sports bar in Australia to focus entirely on competitive video gaming.
We really just wanted the whole model of GGEZ to be an esports bar in terms of the idea of a sports bar having its own style, esports bar being very similar to that.
Gamers won't be playing at the bar, but watching live broadcasts of the billion-dollar esports industry. You've been watching a news break from Monash University. Join us for more stories around campus. I'm Will Zwar.
And I'm Lucy Holmes. Goodbye.